Welcome back to Black Girl Couch Reviews. I'm your host, Christina. We are back for another book review of James S.a.Corey's Babylon's Ashes. I finally finished the audiobook. I did not do a lot of this book on vacation as I expected to do, which I think is pretty funny. Maybe not other people, but I do. And I really enjoyed this book. It was a little bit slower than the previous book that I am blanking on right now. I will remember. I'm just gonna Google it. I gotta Google it because that's gonna bother the living shit out of me. Anyways, so it was a step back from that. We were kind of getting wrapping up, because I heard that these books they come in threes. So this one should be around book 6, right? So this book definitely wrapped up the previous 2, and we're moving into the last 3, I believe, that they are going to be writing. And then they said that they were going to do some novellas. Now, I was not sure if I was going to do any of the novellas, but I think I am going to do, because this whole entire book series is great. It's way better than I thought it was going to be. And I don't read a lot of science fiction. To be honest, I read Harlequin romances most of the time. And even those, I've stopped not reading nearly as much as I used to, which is a shame because I need to actually get back into that. Nemesis Games. That was the last book. So I was correct. This is book 6. So we got Leviathan Wakes, Caliban's War, and then Abaddon's Gate. And then Cibola Burn, Nemesis Games, and Babylon's Ashes. And now it's really weird because Cibola Burn still feels like the weaker one, just because it kind of established something, but I don't know. I'm going to be really interested to see how they do that book in the show. I like the fact that they're going to be fleshing out Marco Inaro's character in the show and introducing him during Cibola Burn's whole story arc. So I think that's actually really smart, because after reading this book, I'm really disappointed in how little I got of Marco Inaros. I felt like I never really fully got this character, and I think there was so much more that could have been given to him and should have been given to him. It was really hard to, even for your villain, like I was more interested in what Duarte was doing. I was like, can we get one epilogue? I thought we was going to get a Duarte, anything about him and his point of view and what the fuck is going on at Laconian's Gate. Although I must say it's a smart ass move for a novel series to keep so much secrecy, because now you really want to know what the hell is going on and you know that it's coming. So I get it, but at the same time, at least Marco, since he did meet his end in this book, and Philip, I would have expected a lot more of them, and I got a lot of Michio Pa. It's not that I disliked the character, I just was meh on the character and her entire story arc. For the most part, I got it. I knew why it was there, but at the same time, it took up a lot of the storyline, unfortunately for me. But the good things about this book is the fact that we do get into a few others, like we get back to Jim's perspective a lot. He always kind of is up there, but there was some good stuff with him. And then Naomi, of course, and then Bobby Draper. I loved her. whole arc, this book. So it has its ups and downs. Just to go into the plot very briefly, basically Earth and the OPA that have faction up against, what did they call themselves? The New Federation or some shit. I probably fucked that up. I'm not gonna remember everything, and I've already drank 2 glasses of wine. So it was a really good day today, guys, and it was one of my really, really great days that I've had in a really long time at work, because, oh Lord Jesus, corporate America and being a black woman, it can be difficult. It can be very difficult. And I find myself in a very challenging situation. And I'm trying to do everything I can to control what I can control. So really did something, got a desk move, and I think that was the smartest thing I could have done. And I feel different already. So when I got home, I was like, I'm about to celebrate myself, and that's exactly what I did. So the overall plot is that group is Fred Johnson, Christian Avasarala, and the fucking prime minister's name of Mars. I never remember his name. I even know his replacement is Emily Richards, and I still don't remember his name. But he's involved as well, and they're all factioning up to go against the Free Navy, which is under Marco Inaros after he threw all the rocks to Earth and pretty much destroyed the planet. Will it ever be saved? There's something to be said there, I guess. I don't know. I could see like someone like Christian Avasarala pretty much wanting to die on that rock. That's her home, but it feels like it's a dying planet, and it's only a matter of time before it's completely dead. But lo and behold, now we have these 1,300 other worlds, which feels very coincidental. And I don't know if that speaks to anything of the bigger design, the more alien, supernatural part of the series. Is this type of event? I don't know. I could just be, I'm throwing out actual predictions because the series hasn't ended and I haven't read the last 3 books. So, and I definitely will be. I'm about to move on to Persephone Rising. I probably said that wrong, but I close. And yeah, I'm starting that audio pretty soon, probably next week, but because I'm listening to a Westworld podcast right now. Yes, a Westworld podcast. There was so many, you can actually just go back and find others, and it's a lot to go through everyone's perspective. Some people are good, some people suck, some people really I don't understand them at all. Like, no, the Westworld is just not the show for them, and it's very clear when they speak. You be like, oh Lord, oh, you have not picked a book up since high school, dear. Oh, that's unfortunate. And then you have those people that could not get past the fact that they were robots, despite the fact that the show have clearly said that they're hosts, and that's what we're going to call them, because they're not technically robots, because robots are made of a metal type material, and the fact that the hosts have human, like their biology is actually human, is the reason why they called them hosts, and it's the reason why the Delos board. Why am I talking about Westworld right now? Anyways, just sometimes I'll be wanting to just go off on people, but I don't have the opportunity because these shows have already passed, and I'll be that one person that sends in feedback and they completely just skip it. Like, I don't feel like being dressed down, and I don't blame them. Usually I just don't even, I just stop listening. But back to Babylon's Ashes and the whole, what the plot was. I don't think I even got past who the people were involved. They are going after the Free Navy, but the Free Navy has retreated off of Ceres, I believe. Ceres, because that was Dawson. Damn it. I know these people's names. Why am I fucking this up? Dawes. That was his spot. So they've completely retreated into 3 main ships, the Pella, and then the other 2, I don't know. And they're pretty much hiding close by Ceres, but far enough away to not be detected. And I think they have stealth gear, right? So they have essentially abandoned their people, the belt that needs the most assistance. So it's like basically the equivalent of what, who was it? Was it Fidel Castro? Did when he's like, oh, okay, if you want to fucking immigrate people, US, here, take all the people who want to immigrate from my country. And he just dropped a shit ton of cons and homeless people and the worst of the worst. Kind of like that, but not really. I don't even know that. Yeah, that actually is not the proper reference at all. Not even a little bit. But, and I could have, it was Fidel, right? I feel like it was. And so that is, I'm still thinking what the, I can't think of the proper reference. But basically they abandon their own people and leave the whole new federation, the new faction, I'm just gonna call them the faction, let them have to deal with the aftermath of that, because now they have people looking to them to take care of them, and then of course them being the antagonists, the good guys, and not the Free Navy people, they have to support the new station in addition to what's still going on Earth, because people by the billions are still dying and there's starvation. Of course, I'm sure there's what did they have, like quakes? Wasn't a city burning? I want to say I recall that. And I know that there were additional attempts of the Free Navy throwing other rocks, so that's something they have to also worry about, because they have no idea how many fucking rocks that they could possibly have stealth looming over Earth trying to get past its defenses. So they were able to knock down 2, I recall. And so from there we get a lot of the characters' perspectives, because they're kind of hanging out on Ceres. You know, you got a few things with Fred Johnson. He's trying to get the old members of the OPA to come up with a better alternative to the Free Navy for the belt, because as far as he's concerned, you know, the whole thing that started this was the fact that not only has Earth and Mars been shitting on the belt for so long, now that they have the ring, they realize that the 1300 worlds, you know, they can go down the gravity well, but belters, a good part of their generation is going to fall out because they cannot have they can't survive down the well. They have to live in space because they're born in space. I recall that story of Naomi when she's talking about her birth, how difficult it is and how dangerous it is, and how it's not like, you know, women now, we just go in the hospital and it's like, oh, okay, 4 centimeters, here's some drugs, go to sleepy time, or half sleepy time, because you know you doped all the fuck up, and then you're like, push, and then it's over. And that's a significant amount of human births. And so, you know, and that's even if you didn't have, you know, most trauma births now, there may have been indications early on that there may be complications with the pregnancy. So the fact that it's so far in the future that we can actually live in space. We can build space stations where Earth can still have a great deal of influence and control over them. The fact that there's a group of people who are still in this backwards way of giving birth as a result of their nature, and they are the ants, so to speak, for Earth and Mars, is really kind of sad on their perspective. And now they're faced with being phased out. And if they're phased out, then they're gonna lose themselves. It fucking sucks. And Earth and Mars do not care, have not shown too much of an inclination. Christian recently, but we can't forget where she came from. And even she is still trying to have a matter of control, which is why she has a great kind of enemy slash frenemy, I should say, relationship with Fred Johnson, because he is from Earth. And I think that's even brought up by Holden at the end of the book when he says, yeah, of course she'd want an Earther. That's what fucked us the first time with the OPA, and why they chose a more extreme faction of the OPA, because they don't want an Earth person sitting there with a connection to the soil that is controlling us, and we're not really speaking for us. So we don't have a voice for ourselves. We want a representative. We want a person at the table of power. And why shouldn't they? So I really loved a lot of the Belt perspective and what they go through, and seeing little parts of their culture in this novel, like when Jim was, interviewing the girl and they were playing that game of catch. I don't even know how to describe it. It was obviously not catch, but it was nice to see. But we have Michio Pao, who defects from the Free Navy. She turns her back on everything because she feels like he broke his promise. And I guess we could just get down to the character breakdowns, because they're going to pretty much cover a lot of the plot as well, because that's just where we left off. And then I guess we'll go with Michio Pao first, because she breaks away from Marco because his plan to turn its back on Ceres was not what she signed up for. It's, in her mind, turning her back on her own people, when now we've started this war, so now we have to support our own people, and you pretty much stripped down the station and then left everyone to kind of starve and fend for themselves and leave Mars and Earth, the ones that have to feed them and take care of them. And so she is not cool with that. So she turns pirate, and we get a lot of her and her relationship. She's part of what do you want to call it? They said it in the book, but I wasn't 100% sure. It's more like multiple husbands, and I feel like there's I don't know what it is. But anyways, they're a family where there's multiple couples, where husbands and wives are, you pick a husband and you pick a wife. It doesn't matter. You all love each other, and it's great. I love that relationship. I love the fact that that's a huge part of her crew, and that her family is the same as her crew, kind of like mirroring the Rossi a little bit, except that they are all fucking each other. And she loses 2 of her spouses. There we go, spouses. She loses 2 of her spouses in this battle because Marco has pretty much called her a traitor. What did he call her? The Witch of Endor, or some shit like that. I'm pretty sure it's something like that. The Witch of something. And dang, I don't recall shit really well I know generalized shit, but I don't know some of the details. Anyway, he's trying to get everyone to turn against her because she is, basically turned her back on the Free Navy, and all of her fleet go with her because they agree with her, but she is now kind of like a what do you call it? A POA? No, that's a prisoner of war. No, she is a damn it, I know the word for this. I should know this. It's irritating. She is a defector. There we go, defector. She's a defector, and so he's going after her, and she's able to escape. She ends up making a deal with James Holden to kind of, hey, I'm gonna give you these like stolen supplies, and you get them to the people that need them. And so they kind of sort of meet on close to Tycho Station, or was it Ceres? And of course someone fires at her. She's smart enough to trust Jim Holden because of what happened on the Behemoth, and she gets her person not to fire because it would have been an all-out war. James is completely horrified about this when it goes down because Fred Johnson didn't have anything to do with it either, and there's people that are on Ceres Station that are actually like, you know, spies for Free Navy. Not spies, but, well, you know, spies in the sense of they are undercover. And then we get her having an all-out war because she's contacted by Christian Avasarala to join them out in this decoy mission because they want to take Medina Station, and they need her to have a war with Marco, and then the Rossi and another ship is going to sneak away to Medina while she's keeping him busy. So during this war, Marco wins this battle, and at the end, though, it seemed like it was a draw, but, you know, Michio did not die, even though she was severely burned. Like I said, she lost 2 of her spouses. And then Christian Avasarala, when Holden and them are in trouble at Medina Station, wants any ships to help him out, and she's like, I got nothing. So her character to me is someone who she feels like she's always on the wrong side of shit. She was following Fred Johnson. I love every time she says Fred Johnson, she's like, Fred fucking Johnson. That's like that ex that you never can get over, and you knew that they was bad, but you slept with them anyway. And so you're even more bitter because you're more mad at yourself because you let yourself do something so stupid. Yeah, that's how she says Fred fucking Johnson. And then here she's done the same thing with Marco and Niles. So she goes into, you know, some pity parties, and her spouses are really good support for her and helping her through that, helping her realize that she's a good person and she did the right thing, and that they all believe and trust in her, and that, you know, you got to trust your instincts, and your instincts, we trust you in that. She's their captain as well as their lover and their spouse. And she ultimately is one of the few people that is not arrested for what happened to Earth, and she is invited to the summit dinner, and I think one of her wives said that she needed to get some power, and I guess that was kind of a premonition to what was to come, because Avasarala at this meeting tries to nominate James Holden as the new leader of the new Free Navy. So taking Marco Anaro's idealisms and what he was supposedly fighting for, except not in quite an extremist way, and dubbing it the new Free Navy. And then I think they call it something else, but James comes up with this plan. I'll start with, because I'll leave that up to James. For Michio, she ends up being nominated by James to be the head of this new type of committee, the new Fred Johnson of the OPA. So that is where we leave her character. She has not accepted position, but she just probably needs to be talked to it and like by one of her wives, because she seems to need the pep talk on a reg. So yeah, I didn't, like I said, I liked her character. There was nothing particularly stand out about her character other than, you know, she's a good person. She wants to do the right thing, particularly when it comes to her people, even though she does not really trust Avasarala, even though she laughs at her joke at the party, because how can you not love Christian? And she does have a little bit of a bond with the woman. So yeah, because Christian, that's the first time and I guess we can get to her next. Christian's having a hard time of it, man. She is still talking to her husband, who has not been found. At the end, she does acknowledge that she believes he's dead, that she says she's lost someone to her husband. He's gone. He's dead. And in the beginning, she's really refusing to accept this. She is handling a great deal of the burden of what's fallen out at Earth. She's trying to control everything. I love her relationship with Sadiq, which I guess is her personal assistant. I can't wait to meet him in the show. He seems like someone who's one of those good, quiet people behind the power that knows exactly how to handle their mistress. But she is trying to juggle a lot, and she ends up ultimately having a little bit of a breakdown, particularly when Fred Johnson dies, which was very shocking and very realistic. So kudos to them for giving us not one of those climactic deaths, but more of a realistic death, because it happened, you know, fairly not around middle-ish in the book. So probably a little bit past the middle. But she does have her family. She has her daughter and her granddaughter, Kiki, who she has who she dislikes the most because she's the most like her. That's very typical. Who ends up being the one that comforts her when she's having her breakdown and brings her back to reality, just by allowing her to stroke her hair and being there for her. She's trying to put off dinner and lunch with her family because she doesn't want to kind of break down probably and be supported. Wow, there's like a loud ass kid out there. And other than that, I mean, she's her typical self. She's busting balls. She is sad to hear that the prime minister is being removed from power, and they are nominating Emily Richards. She wants to know more about Duarte and that fuck up, but it's, you know, they're covering up. They're keeping their cards very close because they don't want to give up what happened with the missing ships and give Avasarala any information on that. I don't know how her and Emily Richards gonna get along. It seems like she has a respect for her, Avasarala, that is. And what else with Christian that I recall even wanting to talk about? She, like I said, she tries to I love how she be cursing Fred Johnson out, telling him how you let Holden be so fucking stupid as to go meet with a pirate. Oh, she's so funny. I will say that about her. Her character is just hilariously funny. I can't imagine a world. It's the same in the show though. She kind of steals it. And then being able to hear it on Amazon Prime with all of the curse words is amazing. I cannot even wait for next season where we can get the full fucking Christian episode. Oh, yes. Cannot wait for that. Best thing ever is it going to Prime. Just saying. And then I think that's that I want to mention about her. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about. Then we get James Holden, who has gotten his family back because Christian she did that huge favor because, you know, he went to a different planet and he's still like around helping. And she knows she loved that boy like a son, like a very errant son, but she loved him like a son. And she brings his entire family, they're like that, right? They're a unit of wives and spouses. Yeah, I forgot that. That's probably why he gets along with Michio Powell so well. But yeah, they're all saved from their farm, even though they had enough supplies probably for like 6 months though. And she's like, it's better that they're up here. And you know it is, because if you got supplies and everyone's starving, I don't know. So his parents meet Naomi for the first time and they be racist. It was totally, I kid you not, there was a time when I went to my ex's, because my ex is Caucasian, my daughter is biracial, and we went and met his, and we were exes at this time. We didn't last like about 2 years? Nah, more like a year and a half. But I went to his girlfriend's house and she had her parents over. And I came in with my daughter to drop her off because he had her on the weekends. And the first thing that the grandpa says is, so have you been to the new Popeyes? And I was like, yeah, no. I'm sorry, it was so freaking funny. I wanted to die. Oh my god, I wanted to say, and do I eat watermelon too? No. Oh my god, at least my ex had the audacity to be horrified. He didn't pretend like he did not fully comprehend how he just fucked the fuck up. Oh, that's basically what happened to Naomi. So she's trying to meet the family, and yeah, I get it. They, you know, it's kind of like when 9/11 happened, and it was, you know, we hate all of a typical of a race, of a culture, no matter if they're part of that or not. So people are unfairly and unjustly judged and being bigoted against because of an event that happens. It's happened multiple times in American history. You know, when Pearl Harbor happened, we put all of our Japanese citizens in concentration camps. So shit happens. I understand. But Jim, for some reason, thought his parents, just like anyone else, you'd be like, I'm open. I'm a good person. I understand the difference between, you know, racist things and non-racist things. So I guess they got that from good parents. And then he finds out that his parents are maybe just a little bit backwards when they use a Belter racial slur against Naomi, or not against Naomi, but against Belters in general. So whoopsies. Jim is horrified and sees Naomi trying to put her hair in her face, and he's like, fuck. I thought that was one of the best parts of the book. It's such a very subtle thing. It's like, you know your girl so well that you know that hurt her so much so that she wanted to hide behind her old self. Yeah, that hurt him. That hurt him a lot. So he has made it his personal mission to show people that the belt is just not free Navy. It's just not people like Marcos Inaros, that there are good people out there. And he goes about sending these types of, he only made one though, right? I'm not sure if he made more, but I think people started making some inspired by what he did. And so he makes this kind of these video insight, you know, type of insider things, and sends it to Monica so that she can show it on TV and get people inspired. So I mean, he's trying. That is the thing about Jim. He really is about about doing the right thing. And if there's something he can try, he will try it. If something he can't not do nothing against injustice, which makes him the man that Naomi loves dearly. And so despite his parents, she's not taking it out on him. She understands, but he's still more bothered and disappointed than anything. And he's making sure every few days that he asks Naomi, how is she? Not that she's going to be feeling any better about the fact that she pretty much was kidnapped by her ex and then abandoned her son for the second time in his life, and that they hate her. She's got a lot of baggage, and so he keeps emotional tabs on her, and he loves his family. That's the thing I really admire about his character, is how much he really loves his family. There's nothing more important to him than the Rossi and the Rossi's crew, and that now includes his very weird ass relationship with Clarissa Mao. I just love how creeped out he is, especially when she gives him coffee and he's like, should I drink this? But I'm gonna go ahead because I'm gonna just trust you now. And I love how she beams at him because she desperately wants to gain his trust, to gain his favor, to be a part of this family, this crew. And she's got that relationship a little bit with Naomi. You see actually a lot of it, because when Naomi's going through what she's going through later on, it's Clarissa Mao that really is like, I'm here for you, talk to me, come talk to me. And Naomi's right there like, yeah, I will. So you have him really attached to these people, and Bobby Draper too. And all he wants to do is protect them, and whatever protects them is, if that means having a safer universe, then that's what we need to do. We need to fucking save the universe. And so he becomes the personal escort of Fred Johnson to this meeting for the OPA. However, on the way to this meeting, they run into the Pella and a battle ensues. They're able to... Is it the Pella? Yeah, it is. It's the Pella. And they're trying, they go back and forth, but they're pretty well matched, and it becomes a who's smarter race. Like, who's gonna find the one weakness going back at each other. So they're firing shots, and Bobby asks Jim to distract them, and he goes and hails the Pella, and Marcos answers. And I love that these two people, one that hates the other so fucking much, like with every fiber of his soul, Marco hates James, and they don't even exchange, like, they don't exchange a word, not one word. And I love that the one thing he does is the fucking shittiest ass move, because Jim can't and Naomi can't have kids, right? Even if Naomi wanted to and Jim wanted to, Jim's sterile. So this motherfucker is gonna take the camera. I mean, it's multiple things that he's doing in this. First, he's saying, and he puts it on Philip, and the first thing he's saying is, yeah, I fucked her first. B, yeah, she had my kid, so that's my seed right there. 3, you ain't never gonna have her seed. She ain't never gonna have your seed. And then 4, if you blow this shit up, you're gonna have to deal with the aftermath of the fact that you just killed her son. That was one of the most cutthroat shits in like 2 seconds. The whole time I was just like, hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, no, to the no, no. Hell to the no, no, to the no, 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 no. Hell to the no, no, to the no, no, no. That is some epically petty ass shit. I mean, epically petty. He was petty all fucking. I'm so mad we didn't get more Marcos. I need more Marcos in the show, because this dude is on a whole nother level of petty. but I mean, he'd take grudges to the next level of grudge. And on one side of grudge is that. Oh man, that was one of my second favorite scenes not scenes, but sequences of the book. And it works too, because they could have easily destroyed them right then and there. Marcos and Eros may have died, because Bobby and them is able to find that they do some type of repeated motion every time that they fire. So she anticipates the motion and is able to strike them, and then she even lets out a few more torpedoes to possibly finish off the job. And it would have finished off the job. It turns out Amos finds out on the grid that one of them actually would have hit and killed the whole problem, so that we didn't have any more of this anguish. And yet Jim Holden, without even thinking, unarmed them, because he could not kill Naomi's son. He couldn't do it. He was not gonna do it. I love Amos when he says later, he's like, if you need me to disarm it for you so that you don't even have the capability of not doing that shit again, I'll do that for you. And he even brings it up. He's like, so they bring up Philip, and he's like, yeah, me and the Cap talked about that. Amos it's hilariously funny. That's why I want to read his novel, because I think it would be just fantastic. Then we get, what else with Jim? So after that whole thing happens, after this firefight, that is when there's alarms going off, and we find out that Fred Johnson did. He had a stroke because he's fucking on diabetes medicine. He got high blood pressure. I don't know if he got diabetes medicine, but he should, because he got high blood pressure, and he ain't slept in like 15 years, and he is completely stressed the fuck out and overworked, and y'all just can't keep popping y'all ass with drugs in your body and not expecting eventually that shit to just stroke out on you. And so he dies. It's very sad, and Holden is completely devastated by this. He goes to the meeting in Fred's place, because Christian's like, look, motherfucker, you got 14 hours to learn all you need to know. I don't think it was 14 hours, but some days to go to this damn meeting, because we can't afford to not have the OPA on our side. We need this side of our alliance, because it's our best fucking chance. So James goes to the meeting, and he's a good student. He hates doing it, cannot stand it, but he's able to take control of the meeting. He's able to remember Christian's advice, and he handles all of the bigwigs in the room. Dawes shows up, and he's like, you need to get on to stepping, because nobody invited your ass. And then he tells the one chick who invited his ass that the first thing you need to do is not do shit without telling me. Like, it's rude to invite someone that was not on the roster, ma'am. That's very rude. You can't come to the party with a +1 when the invitation was only for one. So Dawes, just to quickly touch on him, he defected too from Marcos, because he pissed that he took Siri Station. And he realized that Marcos is a fucking moron and an egomaniac. So he goes to the meeting, and instead of taking the diss from Holden to heart, he does his one last thing for Fred Johnson in honor of his meeting. In the chapel, he convinces all of the members to support James Holden. So good man, he still gets arrested in the end, because he was a chief that pretty much okayed the attack on Earth, so that cannot be forgiven. And right after that, Jim goes back on the Rossi. They come up with the plan to go to Medina Station. That, hey, we need to take control of that, because I think if we take control of that, that would end the whole fucking war. We can actually get the rail guns, defend from there, take out Marcos. He can't get his support from Laconia and where Duarte is. good plan. So they come up with this war that's I wouldn't say it's the fake war, because people die. A lot of people die on both sides. But they have that going on, but they sneak off on their secret mission to Medina Station. They get there, and there's not much he can do except sit and wait on the Rossi. But he is able to meet with, what is he doing? No, because Naomi comes up with the plan. He's desperately trying not to. That's when he takes the coffee from from Carissa, and his whole, or to really sum up the rest of what he goes through, is to be there for Naomi, and that's it. What the fuck am I talking about? He comes up with the whole platform for the new Free Navy, right? They're called the new Free Navy. And he basically says that, hey, I got a solution to all of our fucking problems called, the belt dying out. And that's the reason why they're being all angry right now, because they don't have any power. So, let's give them some power, put them in charge of their own shit by nominating Michio Pao. But not only that, since most of them are always going to need to live in space, how about, they live at Medina Station, and now that we know that there is that basically the traffic through Medina Station needs to be monitored or shit gonna disappear, they can actually be the go-between our world and trading with the other worlds. Let's make Medina Station a trade center, basically. And then all of the belt can live here. And, we don't know what the fate of Mars is gonna be. I'm guessing most people are gonna get the fuck out. Most people are going to be getting the fuck out of Earth over generations, but at least this can be their place, and we're going to make basically a union for them, and they're going to be in charge of their own union, and so there goes our solution. So he's a smart man, and he came up with the idea on how to bridge the gap with the belt, and he is very happy at the end of the book because he's finally not in charge of nothing. He can just go out and be with his crew. He and Naomi, they decide that they're going to stay there for a while, but they're pretty much going to probably be one of the first people that's going to be running supplies and shit through the gates to other worlds, because of course they're going to need someone who's going to be an initiative people, and that's what they can do. Plus make money. Make a shit ton of money. Naomi, we get a few insight chapters with her. She's mostly struggling with the fact that, or accepting the fact that, her son has to make his own decisions, that she tried her best, that her ex has his claws in him, and that she's probably and is responsible for the death of what she thinks is her ex and her son, who she comes up with a plan in the end that understands that this much amount of mass will get these ships to disappear via the data they had on the other ships that disappeared previously. And so that's pretty much her shining moment, but she's kind of, I don't know, she's not too I'm fine with her taking a backseat in this book, but there's not a lot I recall for her character other than the fact that she gets like a slur thrown on her, and she loves Jim. And she's really there for Bobby too, because Bobby has a hard time expressing her emotions. She's the one that really initiates Bobby into the crew and tells Jim, because Jim is like, he's so adorably, what's the word? Sometimes he's just, he things go over his head very quickly. He is a very smart man, but he's very dunce sometimes to the very subtle emotions. And Naomi is very in tune with that. So they make a really good pair. And so, he's like, you're part of crew, you're family and stuff. And like, Bobby has no understanding. She's like, what the fuck? So when Bobby leaves the diner or the party a little bit later, she steps away because she realizes that Earth or Mars is never going to be a thing. That everything that she's ever been taught about her homeworld, that her homeworld is probably not going to exist. and her place is now with the crew, which is awesome. I thought her and Alex would be boning. Alex, this entire time, has went to the bone zone with Sandra Ip. That is what Alex has done. Most of this entire novel is hitting the bone zone. Amos, he has a few moments where he's able to go on to Medina Station with Bobby. They have a fight off. He's like, hold on a minute. Amos being typical badass Amos. Let's see. And then Bobby Draper, her really trying to find her place amongst the crew of the Rossi. It's not that she doesn't know them well, or she's not, she's just giving up one home for another. And she also wants to, fight really bad. She really, really, really wants to fight. She loves being in the thick of battle. I think after the one battle that they had, I think Jim made the comment, like, I didn't see a woman like orgasm off of the violence the way she does. That's pretty much Bobby Draper. So having her and Amos go off on a mission is pretty awesome. And she's also matter of fact about dying. She's like, I want to go out in a blaze of fucking glory. That's my whole mission in life. So yeah, every time James is like, be careful, she's like, okay. Roger that. Then we get I guess the other two big main people is Philip Inaros and Marco. So Marco, the few chapters we got is this motherfucker is obsessed with killing James Holden and getting his boo back. What he's gonna do with his boo, he don't know, but he knows he wants her back. That the bitch left once was a lot for him. That the bitch left twice, and I don't mean to call bitch, I'm just saying this is how he feels. Nail Rooney, of course, is never a bitch. That's my boo. But that's how he's feeling in his mind. Like, she stepped off twice. Like, hell no. He cannot. It's not settling right in his soul, and it is turned his already massive ego. He thinks he is like the coming messiah of OPA. He turned all of the losses into, well, that was my plan. Or he does the terrible thing after they lose their battle with the Rossi and says that it's his son's fault. And makes his son say, it's my fault. I fucked up. He is a very, very disgusting man. He has a lot of issues. He be fucking other women though, but he's obsessed with Naomi. Like, obsessed with her. And he's like, well, my son will come back eventually. Once he realizes I got his mother. He cares less about his son. I mean, he dogged the shit out of Philip. Just dogged him. And I guess we could talk about Philip, because Philip is feeling some kind of way. Like, he does not want to, he's beginning to start to feel guilt, because they go back to the station that he robbed in the beginning. I thought I was gonna remember the name, but I don't. They go back there. He meets a girl, local girl. Her parents died in a bombing or something. He's trying to find his way. Poor baby is so lost and angry. He hates his mother. He adores his father, but he starts to see the cracks in his logic because it don't make sense, and but he keeps trying to staunchly turn a blind eye to the fact that it's bullshit. And then his father has the audacity to, after the fight with the Rossi, to blame it all on him, ruffles his hair. No, that was later at the meeting. Because after he blames him for all the shit, because he's like, Jim Holden, I'm gonna kill him. He had that one moment He's giving speeches and shit, talking about killing. He's meeting with his advisors, but his advisors, when they be asking him questions, particularly Dawes, he tries to make them feel, low. And most of his advisors abandon him, and so he just replaces them with more loyal advisors. And Marco is seeing this all unfold. He's starting to hear his mother's words about how he put blood on my hands too. And that's how he's controlling you. That guilt that you're starting to feel in, that breakdown, that anger. He doesn't know what to do with his emotions. He seems like and he's very violent. Because he tries to get in a fight with a dude at the bar. Wanting to pull out his gun and kill him. He kills a person, actually. Yeah, that's how we start on Series Station. He actually kills someone, a guard, after they were just, doing a job because he was acting like an asshole fighting with another guy, and he ain't even remorseful about it. And that's what starts off Dawes and homeboy Marco's relationship ill, because Dawes is like, if this was anyone else, he'd be dead, son. We don't play that. And Marco does not like the fact that he got put in his place by Dawes and proceeds to humiliate him by telling everybody they leave in a Series Station. That was not part of his fucking plan. His whole plan is to hide and wait for an opportunity to present itself. That is not a plan, dear. That is called hide and seek. You barely feeding he was feeding his people, but it's like he abandoned everyone else. Everyone else, y'all on your own. You're free Navy, but you're on your own right now. We're gonna go chill out here behind this rock and have our lives. But he's not getting any victories until he hears that Fred Johnson died, and he literally takes credit for that shit. And I'm like, that man had a stroke. And so then he tells his son, after humiliating him ridiculously and calling him a child and making him say that he fucked up, even though he did not fuck up, and Philip knows he did not fuck up, he decides after that they're going to have that big old battle. He wins the battle, Marcos that is, but then he realizes, he gets his oh shit face when he realizes that Rossi ain't there. He's like, fuck. So he gets every Freightliner that he possibly can when he realizes that the gates are down at the end, or that the rail guns are down from the Medina station, because Bobby totally meant to turn the power off, but she broke them. And now they no longer work. So he has taken all of his peeps. His son ends up abandoning him. Philip's like, I'm not with this bullshit. Yeah, they have a meeting afterwards, and he's talking about how this was all his plan and yada yada yada, and how we need to take the fight to them, blah blah blah, because everybody's like cheering and excited. They hugging him again. He's like, what the fuck? Like, the hypocrisy is killing me right now. And he gets all up in his dad's grill like, oh, okay, this is all your plan, yeah? He starts smart mouthing him, and even Marcos takes credit for that. Like, this was due. It was long overdue, really, because I smart mouthed my captain. They whooped my ass before they let me back on the ship. I'm gonna ruffle his hair. That's what he does at the meeting when he's asking them legit questions. He ruffles his hair like this boy throwing a tantrum. And Philip proceeds to stomp out and make his point. I'm like, no, Philip, stand there, take it, but like, tantrum, yeah. Love the way the Belters talk. And Philip, at the end, when he's finally called back to go to Medina Station, has had enough, puts his recycler or his gun and his whatever they call their pad thingies, puts that in the recycler and sides up under the name Nagata. This lady looked like she's about to put him either through an illegal sex ring, something, because he kept saying he ain't got no papers, no work visa, he can't fill out this form. And then she's like, okay, I'll find you something. I'm like, that's sketchy, but whatever. He's like, I just need some work. So maybe it probably just underpaid, but I don't know. You gotta be very, he's a 16, 17-year-old boy. But I guess that's grown. He's responsible for billions of deaths. So yeah, that's where Philip left, and Marcos gets his ass through that ring gate because he sees his prize. He's like, I gotta get that gem. Gotta get that gem out and looking for that Rossi. And Naomi Nagata, he's starting to muse on what he gonna do after he kill that motherfucker, and then everything is not there, and something dark comes after him, and he dead. He gone. Goodbye. Good riddance. That's kind of the most plot development. I mean, I can't think of much else to catch my attention. They had an epilogue where Anna was going to one of the worlds, and I was like, okay, don't care. Duarte, no, oh yeah, the Laconians have put a message out there to say anyone who comes to this gate is gonna get fucked up, and anyone with the balls to just play that message and say, yeah, you think you shit right now, but they can't afford to fight again. Mars, not Earth. They're in the, you know how wars, I watch a lot of documentaries between the wars between France and England, and it cracks me up because they make peace treaties not because they want to stop fighting each other, but because they need time to restore the economy they've ran into the ground trying to fight each other to get one over on the other. That's pretty much where Earth is right now. Like, we can't really fight anyone else. We got too much shit. We got problems still. We got billions more still to die. We got people starving. There's a new grain. Oh yeah, I forgot. I did forget a part. I'm sorry. Prax comes back. He's under the meeting was at Tycho Station with the OPA, by the way. We get a brief glance of Drummer. But Prax is on Ganymede, and they're pretty much in the neutral zone of the war. Like, nothing's happening around them. Free Navy has taken over, but it's kind of like we're ruling you, but you won't, other than seeing us on the street, we're not going to interfere with daily life. Like, go about your business. And everyone does, because this is the breadbasket, right? So of course they're going to want to keep their eyes on the breadbasket. And Prax is approached by one of his colleagues about coming to a meeting. He's, about the injustice of what's happening at their station, that they've been taken over and no one seems to care or say anything about it. And these are the bad guys. These are people that just threw rocks at another Earth and destroyed it, killed billions of people. We should not be letting them rule us. And she dies. And Prax takes her data regarding a grain, sends it to Earth, and he ends up getting caught, but because of what the other war going on with Michio Pao, he's able to be let go. And I think he may have made a mistake. Because he starts just talking about plants like a fucking moron. It was funny. It was comical. I liked his scenes. So I like to see that he's probably going to come back later on in the series. And we better be getting the next fucking 3 books Prime. That better have been a 3-year contract deal. I don't give a fuck. I need to see at least these 3, man. Come on, man. Come on. You gotta give it to me. So that is where we leave the story. My rating, I gave this an 8.7 out of 10. It was really good. I enjoyed a good deal of it, although it wasn't as action packed. It was more character driven, and that's fine. But I guess, like I said, I really wish we got more into Marco, into Philip. I needed to know a lot more. And where the fuck did Philip go? Naomi doesn't even know her son's still alive. That's so sad, but she's made peace with it. But damn, it's still really sad. So if you want to send any feedback, you can send that to blackgirlcouch@gmail.com. You can find this podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Podbean at Black Girl Couch Reviews. My social medias will be below. Leave a comment. Until next time, peace.